Hello everyone. So today the topic is SQL Fundamentals Part 2. Okay, in the part 1 we have already seen introduction to database and SQL. What is the need of SQL and what is the need of database? We also seen we had also seen what is the basics of relation algebra. And the last thing which we have seen is how the front end, back end and database works together. Okay, how these three are actually dependent on each other. So those were the basics which we have covered in the previous part. Now we are moving to the SQL fundamentals. So these are the topics which we are going to cover today. So the first point is we will try to understand the big picture. Okay, I'll show you some real life examples, okay, through which you will understand how the big picture actually works. Now in the second part we will try to understand what is the SQL queries and how they actually work. So the SQL queries, basically these are the queries which are basic queries of the SQL: select, distinct, count, where, order by, limit, between, in. Okay, these are the queries of SQL through which we use to query the database. Okay, so we will understand these all topic in depth. Okay, so now let's move to the next slide. Okay, so first of all, let's try to understand the big picture. In the big picture, you can see that this is the front end, this is the back end, and this is your database. Okay, front end interacts with the back end, okay, asking him to give the data, okay, and do the processing. So front end is just for, you can say, it is just for representation. It is just for, you can say, uh like like a designing thing where a user can interact with something in an interactive way. Suppose you went for Facebook, suppose you went to any other website, like Twitter. Okay, there you used to tweet anything, and in the Facebook you also post something. In the Instagram also you post pictures. Okay, so there is an interactive front end is already designed for that, so that so that the user feel interactive. It like interactivity basic mean it should be easy. Okay, it should be easy. Like if I want to post something, I just directly go to that option and I will directly post something. If I want to tweet, so I'll just directly go to that panel and I'll tweet it. And I also able to read all those tweets which other people has posted there. Okay, so the front end should be easy. Now it's not about I'm talking about developing front end easy. Just I'm saying that the view which front end give, it should be easy so that user can interactive in a more comfortable way. Okay, so now the second thing is the back end. Okay, so front end talk with the back end if front end wants something, and back end interacts with the database and to get the data and to store something to the database. Okay, backends store some data to the database and also retrieve the data from the database. So what is this storing and retrieving thing? Suppose you are in your in your Twitter website and you want to post some tweet. So you have written some tweet there. Then that tweet will first go to the backend, and backend store that tweet in the database. Okay, and if suppose you want to read the other people tweets, in that case we will also put a request to the backend, and backend retrieve all the tweets from the database and it'll give it to you. Okay, so you can see that this database is actually a storage thing. Okay, and this front end is basically a presentation thing, and this backend is actually the processing thing. Okay, where all processing happen. Now I'll give you to the example of some other website. Like let's move to the zomato.com. Okay, here you can see that in Zomato there are list of restaurants. Okay, with the restaurant you can see that there are a lot of dishes they have presented. Okay, in a very, like you can say, in a very interactive manner. So the interactivity is very good here. So because of their interface. Now there is a dishes, you can see some dishes here. There is also a data present in regarding with each dish. Like if I talked about when I talked about this big picture here, here I've talked about the database. So right now I'm saying I'm saving some data and I'm retrieving some data. So the question is, what is that data exactly? What I mean by that data which I'm saying, whatever I'm retrieving, whatever I'm like saving into it. Okay, so if I talk about in Zomato website, in Zomato, you can see there is a lot of content. What is the content? The dish name. Okay, the dish, basically what variety of basically what variety of dishes they used to serve. Okay, what is the rating and what is the cost of that dish. Okay, so here you can see that there is a lot of data, but the question is from where this data is actually coming. So when I'm clicking on this, then you will get more data, the whole menu of the that restaurant you will get. Okay, this is the whole menu of that restaurant. But where this data is actually stored, how the front end is actually getting all this data. So basically front end requesting to the back end, and back end is actually getting the data from the database, and that database actually presented in the front end is just displaying the same data in a very you can say in a very cool way. Okay, so it should be easy. It should be easy, so that because I don't feel like if the system is actually complicated, so in that case I unable to like derive how to basically deliver anything. So front end should be easy so that user can interact in a very easy, like in a very easy way. So this is a big picture basically. So now the point came here is how backend is actually interacting with the database. Okay, how backend is actually talking to the SQL. So when backend talks to the database, so basically there is a communication happening between the backend and the database. So backend is like querying the database like in a language which is known as SQL. Okay, it is putting some query and it is asking, hey database, I want some this data. Can you give me like all the list of burgers? Okay, so the database, the backend cannot directly talk to the database. There is a communication which is needed. So that combination is basically SQL language. Okay, SQL is basically structured query language through which the database query through which the backend query the database and will ask for different type of like content. Suppose the backend is asking for burger. Suppose the backend is asking for pizza. Can you give me the data of pizza? Can you give me the list of restaurants which are present in Delhi? So these all things are done by the backend, and backend requesting the database, and database is giving the data to the basically backend, and the medium is the communication medium is SQL. Now, how we actually store our data. So the way we store our data is basically in the form of table format. Okay, here you can see a table form. So right now I'm talking about the relational database. Okay, relational database basically means table database. In this table database, suppose I want to form a company, and for the company I have to put some fields in my database. So this is the table which I've created. So you can see that this is the employee table, and the first thing I have put it here is employee number. The second thing is the employee name. The third is his age, his or her age, and the fourth thing is department, and the fifth thing is the salary. Okay, here you can see that I have put any like every information in this table. So since this table is very small, okay, but in reality if I talk about a big firm, big organization where 5 lakh people are working, okay, so there the database is like very huge. Now what is the what like how this data like how this table is actually helping us? Okay, so this table is not like you can say this data is actually stored in a maintained format, like in a proper format. But if I want some information from this table is actually telling many things. So what are the things which this table is actually telling? So suppose you want all the people which are working in a marketing company or marketing department, sorry. So what you will do, you will just query this database, you will just query this table, and you will get the information of all those people who are working in a basically marketing department. So that is Golith and Robin. Okay, if you want to find like who is the one who is actually working in the security department, so that is John's, that will retrieve your data. Okay, it is very easy to get our answer like in this small table, but if the table size is of 1 lakh, then it will be very difficult. But SQL actually makes our life very easy. Okay, if we use SQL even in 10 lakh data na, it will give us all the information. Okay, so that is the SQL which we are going to learn, like we are going to learn today, basically starting from the fundamentals. Then you will understand, okay, how things are actually working. So basically whenever you form any start like any company or anything, okay, so whenever you are developing like any application, any web application, so basically in the back end, the database is the primary part. You first have to design database, like how the database should be look like, because then only backend will talk to the database. Now, then only backend know which information I want and which information I need to fetch from the database. So this is another example. This is another table where you can see that there is a lot of students. This is a school table where you can see that different marks like corresponding to each student. I use marks in maths, chemistry, physics, geography, history, computer science. Okay, so this table is actually containing, you can say, seven entries. Okay, but if I talk about a real life scenario, there would be, like, you can say 100 student entries. Okay, so this table is actually talking a lot, and I can get many information, like a lot information from this table. So what are the info can I get? So like suppose like teacher is actually querying something, like I want to see who all student have scored above 70%. Okay, I want the name of all student. So if he or she just query the SQL language na, then she will get the reply from the database, like these are the students. Okay, but if you manually try to find all those students who scored 70%, like in all subjects, then it will be very difficult. You have to manually go from 200 entries. But SQL is actually making our life easy. You just have to query the database, and you will like you will have the functionality to basically find many things, many information. Okay, when we learn SQL, you will understand, okay, how different functions are actually SQL is giving. Now this is the next slide, and here you can see that there is a database, and in the database there are different tables. In a single database, you can see that there is a different tables. Okay, so what does it mean actually? So if I'm talking about Zomato, in the Zomato, you can see that there is a menu table. There must be a menu table where they stored the menu. Okay, and if I'm talking about the payment table, there must be a table where they are storing the payment, deliveries, and all those things. Okay, there must be another table where they are storing delivery information, where the delivery is actually going to, and who is delivering that product, and all those information. Okay, so in a single database there are many tables. If I'm talking about Zomato, there must be many tables. Okay, around, you can say, like 15 to 20 tables they are using, okay, to store different information. So we will see that what kind of table I'm talking about. So in a single database there can be multiple tables. Now here you can see that the database example, like a schema example, where there are different table. If I'm talking about any restaurant, there will be a table of customer where they store customer ID, email, phone. Like whenever you register in the Zomato, okay, they used to ask for these involved information: email, phone number, first name, last name. Okay, and if you are making some item, like if you are opening any menu, so this table is actually calling. So database is actually providing you the data of all this menu. There will be an order item, particular customer has ordered something. This is a food item. This is an administrator who is handling everything. There's a payment through which your like payment is actually happening. There is a chef where all the chefs are like all the information of chefs are written there. And this is the order, whatever order you are making. Okay, so this is like, here you can see that there are multiple tables. Like there are 8 tables here. Okay, so in a single database there are 8 tables we are using here, and each table is connected to each other. Now what are database operation? Okay, if suppose like this is your backend and this is your database. Okay, there are only 2 type of requests which backend can make to the database. The first thing is the saving request, and other thing is retrieving request. What do you mean by saving request, and what do you mean by retrieving request? Okay, so saving basically means if I want to store something in the database. Okay, suppose a new restaurant came in my city. Okay, then one Zomato will do. Zomato will register that restaurant into their you can say into their database, and they will put their information. Suppose the restaurant name is Snack Point. Okay, what they will do, they will put their information in the basically in their database with the information with the area where it actually belong. Okay, so this is actually something you are saving in the database, and later if suppose Snack Point update, like change their name, Snack Point to like you can say Fresh Point. Okay, so what will happen, so they have to update the database. Zomato have to update their database. Okay, so now if Zomato is updating their database, what operation they are actually doing, they are doing the saving operation. Okay. Now, what is mean by retrieving the data? Retrieving data basically means if I'm clicking on this Delhi Dosa Plaza, then it is retrieving all the information regarding to it. If I'm clicking on the burger, then it is doing nothing. It's just retrieving that information for me. Like, this is the information what you want. Okay. So there are two possible operations which we can do on basically database. So first is we can save something, and for the second thing is we can retrieve the data from the database. Okay. Now let's start from the select statement. So this is the first query. Okay. So select statement basically used to retrieve the information. If you want to, like, if there is a table, if I talk about table, okay, in this table, you can see that there are name column, there are age column, department column, salary column. Okay. If you want the name, only the names from this table, like give me the names of all the students who are actually working in the, like, who are studying in this school. So you just have to use the select query. So how select actually works, you have to put the select, you have to write select is a keyword, you have to write select. After that, you have to give the column name. What is the name of that column? Column name is basically name. Okay. Student name, like whatever the column name may be. And then you have to write from, and then you have to give the table name. Okay. So what is that table name? So through this, you will able to fetch the information from the database, from the table. Okay. What all names are present in that table. Okay. I'll give you a little bit demo. Let's move to the another links. So that is sqliteonline.com. Okay. We through our learning process, I'm going to use this like this website, and you just have to directly open it, and I will provide you a database. That database is actually known as, you just have to import, open, and you just have to open this restaurant dbsql. Okay. And it will load all the database. It will load all the database, it will create all the tables, and with table also, it has also created some information. Okay. Like I've already inserted some information in all these like table. So in the later part, in the part 3, we will understand like how to create a database, how to insert the entries into the table, how to create tables, how to insert the entries into a table, how to update the table. Okay. This part we will learn later, but right now I'm just working on those some simple SQL fundamentals retrieving queries. Okay. So the first thing is, here you can see that when I've imported the, basically imported the tables, here you can see that at the table which I get, bill, booking, cashier, cook, customer, all these tables are there. There is also a menu table, and when I click on each table, here you can see that there are columns of that table. What all columns are present in that table? Menu ID, name, price, type, category. Okay. If I show you like this table, so what can I do? Okay. If I want to print the name of this, basically what all names are present in this menu. Okay. So you just have to write the keyword select. After select, you just have to write name. After name, you have to write from. After writing from, the, like, this is the column name, and this is from, like, which table. The table name is actually menu. So if I write menu, and if I put semicolon after that, at the end of the query, I have to put semicolon, and then I will start run this query. Then you will get all the dishes which are present in that table. Okay. What if I also want the price? So if I want the price, then I also can write comma, and I will put price. Okay. And I will run it. When I run it, then you can see that there are name, and corresponding to that, I also get the price. Okay. What if I want the type also? So I'll put the comma, and I just have to write type, what all type are actually present. So these are the type. So name, price. So these all information actually present in my database. But what if I want all the information? I don't want to write like individually everything. So in that case, you can just directly write. In that case, you can just directly write star. By writing star, what you are saying, I want all the information of, like, all the information of menu. What you are saying, select star from menu, select everything from menu. And if I run it, then you will get all the information. Here you can see that you will get all the information: menu ID, name, price, type, category. And these all items are present in our restaurant. Okay. So now, yeah, this is basically the select statement. Now let's move to the next one. After select, I want to explain like how this query is actually running. This query is actually run in a backward manner. So what do I mean by backward manner? Like suppose when I've written this select star from menu, so what is the first thing which it is doing? It is just first selecting the table. What is the name of the table? So the table name first, it is actually doing this thing. It is selecting the table, which table you are asking about. So I have selected the menu table, and then it executed this. Now this menu table is actually selected, and from this table it is telling me like which columns you want. Select star basically you are saying you want everything, you want every columns, like all columns. Okay, that's why I have written star. But if I replace this star with the name, okay, then in that case, if I run it, then you can see that there is a like lot of dishes are here. Okay, it is saying just select the column name, that is name, from the menu. Okay, from the menu. So first it is executing this, and then the second instruction which it is executing is this select name. Now if I want type, then if I run it, then you can see that first it is selecting the table, and after selecting the table it is executing this, which basically which columns you want. If you want everything, then you just have to put star, otherwise just name the column separated by comma. Now they select in the select statement, you have seen that like either I can select single column or either I can select multiple column. It's up to me. If I want all columns, I just put only star. Now, if I want select single column, you just have to write select and that column, basically column name, and that from and that table name. Okay, what is the table name? In the multiple column, you just have to write the column name separated by comma and from that table name. Okay, and you will get all the entries related to that table. If you want all the columns, I have already shown you, you just have to write star and you will get all the columns from that table. Now let's move to the distinct, to list the distinct values. What do I mean by distinct? Like what does it mean distinct? So basically distinct matlab unique. Okay, distinct means unique. So the syntax of writing distinct is select distinct column from table. Okay, so where I can use this distinct. So let's see it. So first, if I just write select star from menu. Okay, let's analyze the database. In the database, you can see there are many dishes are there, many prices are there, 300, 400, 695, and many types are there, non-veg, veg. In the category also, there are many categories, starters, seafood, okay, tandoori special, like there are many categories are here. Now let's try to just get the category from this table. Okay, I just want to see how many categories are there. So if I run it, then you can see that there are these many categories, but many of the entries are actually repeated. I don't want it. I just want like how many categories are actually present there. So to find the unique values, you just have to use the keyword distinct. Okay, if I use the word distinct, and if I just write it before the column name, then if I run it, then in that case, I'll get the unique entries like starter, seafood, tandoori special. Now I'll get, okay, how many distinct entries are actually present here. You can also write the distinct, like after writing distinct, you can also put into the bracket. This is also another way if you want to execute the distinct. So it will give me the same result. Okay. So distinct basically help me in giving the unique values. If I again put the distinct in another column, suppose if I want to see like what all prices are present in this table, basically what all prices are actually present in this table. So 300, 400. So if I write just price, and if I run it, here I'll get the information, but the many of the like a lot of information is actually repeated. So I will write distinct, and if I run it, then I will get the unique prices. Okay, these many prices are there. Okay, so distinct helps me in like getting the data, but only the unique data. Okay, in some part of like if I'm talking about Zomato, so if I'm querying something, so what I'm saying like get the information of pizza Italiano. Okay, so whatever you are clicking, okay, in the backend, it is making a query. So either the backend is actually making the query of select star, either the backend is actually making the query of select distinct. It depends upon the front end, like what data you want. Okay, so when you are clicking anything, so in the backend, what is happening? The query is actually executing. Backend is executing the query on the database, and database getting the data, giving the data, and backend is giving the data back to us, to the front end. So this is everything. This is how the big picture actually works. So now let's move to the next one after completing the distinct. So you can also write select distinct column from the table. Okay, and you can also, like, if suppose you have a table of country table, okay, and there are a lot of continents. So if you want to find like how many different continents are there, okay, you can also find distinct column from table. If you want to find like how many different dishes are served in that restaurant, so you just have to put the distinct before that column name. Okay, now what is count? Okay, basically count return the number of input rows that matches a specific condition of a query. Okay, I'll explain it. Now to write the count, you just have to write select count and that column name and that from table name. Okay, count will return the number of rows. So what does it mean? Basically, if I write select star from menu, if I just run it, select star from menu, here you can see that I have like retrieve all the data. Now, if I want like the count of basically how many dishes are there. Okay, there are a lot of dishes, but I just want the count, like how many dishes are there. In that case, first I'll just have to write name. And if I run it, the one way of getting the count, I just have to start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but this is not a good practice. So what can I do? Because if the data is of 1 lakh, so it is not that key, I'm just counting it. So what you can do, you just have to write count, and count, after count, you just have to put that column name into the brackets. When you put that name in the bracket and when you run it, you are basically getting, okay, there are 39 entries are there. Okay, where I can use this, basically where I can use this query, it is the query which I want, like I can use this query when I want, like in a particular restaurant, how many dishes are there. Okay, if in a particular restaurant, how many dishes are there, so I just have to write, okay, in Zomato, if there is a feature, like if I'm clicking anything and if I get like how many dishes are actually they are serving, so this query helped me in that part. Because select count name, I'm making a count name, like how many number of rows from like are present in this menu. So if I'm talking about a row, if I'm talking about a row, this is the complete row. This is the first row. This is the second row, like complete row. This is the third row. Okay. Now, if I want like how many entries completely present in this database, how many rows in the complete database, I know it is the same, but if I put like, how can I query it? So you have to write select count star from menu. Okay. And it is giving 39. So there are different ways how you can use the count. Okay. So suppose the problem statement here is you want to find like how many starters are there present in this menu. How many starters are present in this menu. So you just have to first write category. Okay. Now you have found out that, okay, there are a lot of starters are present here, but okay, now after that, if I want to find like how many categories are there, so I'll just make a count. And if I run it, then I'll get 39 categories. Like it is telling me like you have 39 basically like 39 type of starter, you have categories. Okay, so but this is not meaningful actually, because it is giving me the complete count, but I just want to find what are different starter, what is the count of those different starters. Okay, because these values are repeating, so I just want to count starter in first, seafood is the second. That this is the way how actually I want the count. So what I'll do, I'll just first put the distinct. Okay, and distinct will give me the, like, these all starters are actually, these all categories are actually present in your menu. Now after that, I just have to put the count, and count should be in the brackets. So I'll put this into the bracket. So distinct category is actually in my bracket. And when I run it, then in that case, one second. I just have to put it in the bracket. And if I run it, okay, here it is telling me you have total 8 categories in your, basically in your menu. So this is actually meaningful if I want to find like that information. Okay, this is actually meaningful because this is telling me you have 8 type of categories present in your menu, okay, which you can eat. So 8 categories are there. You can decide from those 8 categories. So yeah, this is the basically this is the use of count, and using count you can find like even how many entries are, like the exact count of that entries. Suppose if I put select star from menu, and if I run it here, we have 2 types, veg or non-veg. But if I want to find the count, so if I directly write count, and if I just directly put on type, so in this case it is giving me 39 basically types, but the types are actually exact, it is actually 2. Okay, it is not there are 39 types. So I just have to put distinct, and in the distinct I'm putting it inside the brackets. Now if I run it, then in that case I'm getting there are 2 types of error types. The types are veg and non-veg. So these are the different ways how you can use count. Okay, so count basically return number of rows, return number of rows. Count is useful with other commands like distinct. Okay, because if you are just using the count, then in that case it will only return the complete rows. Okay, but if you use with the distinct, then you will get some meaningful information. So the syntax of writing distinct is like count with distinct is count in the bracket, just write distinct column name from table name. Okay, you also have to put it in the bracket also. Okay, you just have to see like whether it is working or not. So now let's move to the next topic, that is where. Okay, so what is where? Where statement allows us to specify condition on column for the rows. Okay, if you want to put more condition, then basically where is actually used. Okay, so how to use where? Let's see. Okay, so the syntax of writing where is you just have to first select the column, then from the table name, and then you have to give the where condition. So now if I say select star from menu, if I run it, then in that case you will get all this information like menu ID, name, price, type, category. Okay, so okay, these all information you are getting from here. So now here we are talking about where. Okay, so how can I use where? So I just want to select the column, suppose name and type, name and type, and it will give me like all the information like name and type, the name of the dish, and with the type like which it contains. Now if I want to put the condition that I only want those dishes, I only want the name of those dishes, name and type of those dishes which are veg, which are from the veg category, because I am a vegetarian. Okay, so after writing, like after selecting something and after writing the from, you just have to write where. Okay, now after where you have to put some condition here. Okay, so the condition is I want type to be basically veg. Okay, here you will see that I'm only getting all the entries, I'm only getting all the items which are from the vegetarian category. Okay, so now if I want non-veg, if I want non-veg, then how can I find all the non-veg category? So you have to use the exact name. So in that case, you have to write where. Okay, you have to put the where clause. After that, you have to write, because you are selecting from the because you are you are making the choice on the type that you only want the non-veg. You just have to write type equals to, and in the string format, in the string, like in the quotes, you have to write non-veg. And if I run it, in that case, you will see that you are getting all the items which are from the non-veg category. Okay. If I just want to find like what are the names of those dishes. Okay. If I want to find this, what are the names of those dishes, in that case, I just have to run it. Okay. I'll get all the dishes which are from the non-veg category. What if I want the count of all the dishes? I just want the how many dishes are there from the non-veg category. So it's just giving me 16. Okay. So there are different ways through which you can use this where. So I'll just tell you more ways. Now select, okay, sorry, this is select star. Now here you can see that there are prices, type, category. Okay. Now if I want to find like all those dishes, select all the dishes where price is, okay, where price is, you can say greater than 300, where price is actually greater than 300. I just don't want the price which is actually 300, because it is saying I want all the entries whose price is actually greater than 300. If I run it, then you, in that case, you can see that I'm getting like a lot of dishes whose price is actually greater than 300. Okay. Now let's move to the back to the where clause. Here, like I already told you, like where statement allows to specify condition on column for the rows. Okay, so these are the operator which you can use. Either you can use less than, you can use greater than, you can use equal, you can use less than equal, you can use greater than equal, you can use not equal. So this is the sample query. Select star from student where marks is less than 10. Select star from student where marks is greater than 10. Okay, so you can use different permutation combination of these queries. You can use a multiple combination of these queries. So now, like suppose if I'm talking about like if you want to put like price greater than 300. Now, if suppose I want all the dishes whose price is greater than 300, but less than, you can say less than 600. I don't want 650 price because my budget is 600 rupees. So I just want like where the price is greater than 300. Okay, and I can afford 300, so that's why I'm writing greater than equal to. Okay, and after that you just have to write and you have to write price greater than equal to 600. Okay, so this is actually giving me the range. I want all the dishes whose price is greater than 300. Between I'm putting and, okay, I'm writing and I also want the condition should also, like this condition should also be true. Okay, that price should also be less than 600 because I don't want beyond 600 anything. So if I run it, here you can see that you are only getting all those dishes whose price is greater than equal to 300 and less than equal to 600. Okay, so you can use this in a different ways. What if you only want the price, only want the menu whose only want all those rows whose actually price is 300? So you just have to write price equal to 300, and in that case you will get only all those items whose price is actually 300. So in different ways you can use the like this where clause. So one other way is also this, like if suppose I'm running it, okay, I want that key, I want all those dishes which are from, like you can say, which are from whose price is where price equals to 650. Okay, for integer, for because 650 is actually a number, you don't have to put in a string. And if suppose there is some word, in that case you have to put in a string. And then I'm writing and, okay, and the type is I want all those dishes whose price 650 and whose type is non-veg. And if I run it, then I'll get Okay, when I ran this query, I don't get any output. Okay, because there is no entry present in the menu where the price is actually 650 and the type is non-veg. If I show you, like if I show you the whole database, here you can see that there is no dish present here whose price is 650. Okay, and which is from the veg category. There are dishes which are from the veg category in the price of 650. Okay, let's see what are like if I convert this into not in a non-veg format, I just write veg. In that case, you can see that there is a veg, and in the veg category, I'm getting this. So you can query this database in a very different ways using this where helps you in putting condition, like what all condition you want to put. Okay, instead of and, you can also use or. Okay, what is this or is saying? When I'm talking about and, okay, so it was saying ki I want all the dishes whose price must be 650, okay, and whose type is must be veg. So these two conditions should be true. Only then just show me the output. If these two conditions are not true on those rules, then don't show me any result. Okay, this is the and is very strict. But if I'm talking about or is saying either you give me this or either you give me this, both are okay. I'm not very like strict about the rule that you just have to, this is also true, and I'm not saying and this is also true. I'm saying if you have this, then also show me the result, either it is from the veg or non-veg. And if you have other other thing which is from the veg category, and I don't I'm not I'm worrying about the price. Now if I run it, just one second. So there is actually a syntax error in the type. Okay, so basically this is a select start from menu where price is actually 650 and type is actually veg. Okay, so either you are getting 651 and other thing which you are getting is either type veg. Okay, so even in the 650 you don't have any non-veg, so that's why it is not showing. Otherwise it will show you that result because it is not restricted. It is saying show me all the result whose price is 650 and also show me all the result which are type veg. Okay, I don't care like if this price 60 is 50 lying from the non-veg category. So basically this is how I can use the where clause in different situations. Okay, if I show you one more example, like if I run it, so this is the table, and if I use another table, like if I use the cook table, and if I run it, then you can see there are different information. These are the information of cook. Okay, there are many categories: birth date, specialization. Okay, and there are salaries. Okay, I think here I cannot use the basically. Okay, if I want like select star from cook, where the specialization is actually, if suppose I want to eat samosa. Okay, and suppose there are a lot of entries are here present here, you can say 1 lakh entries are present here. I just want to find like all all those cooks whose specialization is samosa. Then in that case I'll get this in the Japanese thing, and here this is his address, and here I'm getting like the specialized, like this is from this, his specialization is actually samosa. So you can use this where in very different ways. Now let's move to the next one. So this is our comparison operator, how we used to compare. And if I'm talking about the SQL logical operator, okay, so SQL logical operator, we have and or not. Okay, we have used this and or not between the condition. Okay, either you can write where marks is less than 10, and you can write marks is greater than basically 5. Okay, you can write where marks is less than 1, where marks is greater than 100 and marks is less than 50. So you are getting all those student information whose marks is greater than 50 and less than 100. Okay, so you can use these and or not together. Okay, so what is this not means actually? Where basically, so basically I try to find like who all those cooks, okay, whose specialization is samosa. But if I want to find like all those cooks whose specialization is not samosa, then in that case you just have to write not and just put it here. And if I run it, then you will get you get all the information but except samosa. Okay, where specialization is actually samosa. So this is, and if I want to find, like, also want to put, like, I don't want like whose specialization is basically also, I'll write or here. Okay, and first I'll write jalebi. I don't like, basically you can say jalebi. Okay, and not, and if I run this, then I'll got the error. The reason I got the error basically, okay, sorry, I've used the quotes. Okay, so here you can see that ki, whose specialization is not samosa and jalebi. Here you didn't get any output which is actually related to samosa and jalebi. This is a different ways how I can use this and or not or something like that. Okay, so just try it, just practice it, just play with it, and you will understand it. Not basically means if you want like all those one who's actually has a specialization in samosa, then that case you will get this. And if you are putting not basic means I don't want it. Okay, just don't give me that result, otherwise show me all the results. Okay, in that case it will show you this result. Now after moving to this, here you can see that the examples of and or not, check two conditions are true, and actually together checking two conditions, like where basic is actually greater than equal to 10,000. Okay, and basic is less than equal to 20,000. So these condition saying that give me the all the employees whose salary is greater than 10,000 but less than 20,000, or say that I will check any one of these condition. Okay, if this condition is true, I will print all the data, and if this condition also true, I will also print all those data from that also. Okay, so it will select all the employees whose salary is greater than 10,000, or also give me all those employees who's from the department sales and I'm not worrying about their salaries. Okay, so there are two conditions. You can see that I'm getting the output from these two conditions like uniquely. Now, not it basically reverse the logical reverse the result of logical expression. Suppose as I've shown you like the example of if I want all the cook who can make samosa, but so you just have to put where specialization equal to samosa. But if I don't want that who can make samosa. I just want who cannot make samosa other than just show me the output. I just have to put not. Here you can see that select star from employee where not, and I've put the bracket. In the bracket I have written basic is greater than equal to 1,000, 10,000, or department is equals to sales. Okay, whose neither salary is greater than, whose salary is not actually greater than 10,000, show me that result also. Or and also who's not from the department sales. Who's from that sales, don't show me, just show me all those one who's not from those basically sales. So no, not is actually making this statement negative. So if I show you, like previously I've shown you this. Okay, I've written in this way. What if I just write not and I remove this not, and it will put the not in both of it. Okay, I just don't have to write a not uniquely. And if I run it, then in that case you can see that I'm getting all those one. Okay, in this, when I'm running this, I'm getting all the output, like even I'm getting samosa and jalebi. Because what is this select actually is testing is, it is actually testing that give me all the rows from the cook whose specialization uh, is not samosa, and at the same point his specialization is not jalebi. Okay, here I'm putting and also. So this and is actually creating the issue, because at one point either you have a samosa or either you have omelette, either you have bonda. You cannot be two things. Okay, that's why this condition is not true in every case. Okay, because when it reaches to this case, like where I want to print the samosa, it is also checking. Okay, okay, you are saying this condition is true. Okay, fine. Now also check whether this specialization is jalebi or not. So this specialization is not jalebi. Okay, then it is saying okay, then this is actually false. Then print this output. Okay, it is not full. So in that case, what I can do, I just write or. So it is a little bit complicated. It is little bit like you can say to understand this, it can uh, little bit confusing, but try to understand. If I'm writing not, okay, and if I'm right, and now if I write or, and if I run this, then in that case it will give me this one. One second. So now in this case, it will actually give me the specialization is actually samosa, specialization is jalebi. And if I run it, then you can see that I'm not getting samosa and jalebi here. Okay, why? It is actually checking whether this specialization is samosa or not. Okay, specialization is Maggie. Okay, false. We just have to print it. Now check omelette, not false. Like basically it is false. You have to print it. So if you just have to think like in this way. If I just print this thing now, if I just print this thing, so it is actually printing all those one who has samosa and jalebi. And if I put the not, then it will not print that one which has samosa and jalebi. Other than this, if I just write the not here and put the bracket, then other than these two, it will print everything. Okay. So now let's move to the next one. Order by. Okay, so if you want to see your output in ascending order or descending order, because by default by default there is no order like when you are printing the output. But if you want to see your output in either ascending or descending, so there are ways. So how can I print those output in ascending and descending order? So this is the way. Like you just have to select column, like basically column name from table, and from table, and then you just have to write order by, and that column name in which like in which column you want to follow that ascending and descending order. Okay, and these are the keyword ASC and DESC. Okay, ASC basically means ascending and DESC means descending. Okay, now if I write this thing, like if I show you in this query, like select star from menu, and if I run it, so here you can see that key I'm getting all the entries from the menu. Now if I want to order it, if I want to order it, order by, if I want to order it by the, you can say the price and by name, then what will happen? It will go with the ascending order. By default, it will take the basically ascending order. So you can see that boiled Bombay, it is actually in the ascending order. The output you are saying, it is saying ki I will print the output, but in the ascending order of the name, which column name which you have given. If you are saying I want to print the output in the order of like in the category. Okay, I just first show you default. By default, it is ascending. Otherwise, if you want to explicitly put, then you just have to write ASC, and if you run it, show you the same output. But if you want to print descending order, then you just have to run it, and it will give you the in the descending order that the last variable V is coming first, and in the way if you go to the last, in the last you are actually getting B. Okay, so you can in this name instead of this name, if you can put also category, and if I run it, then you will get vegetable dishes starting from V and going till D. So it is basically ordering the category by descending order. So you can also put in different columns. If I put in the price, the descending order will be the larger number will come first. Okay, 995 is actually coming first because it is in the descending order. But if I remove this, then in that case, I will just get the output from the ascending order. Okay, if I want the count, like how many count are there, count. Okay, you just have to put the count 39. Okay, instead of it, you can also put basically where, okay, where which condition you want to put, where basically where price is greater than equal to, greater than you can say 300. And if I run it, then it will print me all the prices that are greater than 300, but in the order by of price. Okay, and if I want to put, like here you can see that it is in an ascending order of the price. But if I change it and if I make it name, then what will happen? It is actually giving me the only all those dishes whose price is actually greater than 300. What if I write and price is less than you can say 600. In that case, if I run it, then I'll only get all those output, and you can see that it is in the ascending order of the name. Okay, so this is how you can use the order by, okay, in different ways. The other thing is the limit. So what is actually limit is all about? Limit is basically if you want, like you want to print 2 rows. You just don't want if your output is actually coming of 50 rows, okay, but you only want 5 rows. Okay, in that case, limit is actually used. Limit command limit the number of rows written for a query, and limit is the last command to be executed. And the last command, because everything when you have selected, now you have to select that, like you want to select only 5 rows. So this is the way. You just have to write select star from table name, and you just have to write limit 2. Okay, suppose in this case also, if I want like these many output are coming, if I want only 2 output, in this case I will write limit, and I will write limit I want only 2 output. So in this case it will only give me 2 output, top 2 output. Okay, if I write select star from menu, and if I write just I want to print 10 items, then in that case it will just give me 10 item. Here you can see that limit is actually limiting the output. Okay, here you can see that example in the Zomato also. In a one page you can see that there are limited number of entries are. It is not that there are many entries are present here. So there are multiple pages actually. Okay, if you like there are multiple pages, like here you have seen that in Google also there are multiple pages. If I'm searching for something, hello, okay, here you can see that key I have multiple pages. So in one page there are limited number of entries are actually coming here, their number of entry. So this is why if you want to query the backend, so in the backend it is actually query limiting the output whatever is actually sending to the front end. So you can make the limit, either you want 20, so it will also show you 20 output from it. Okay, so in the previous case I've also shown you, like you can also put the condition order by name, and now right now I can select 3 entries from this output. It will select first 3. Okay, 1 second actually. Okay, if I remove this and if I run this, then in this case it will select the first 4 entry Kima plow price, like here you can see that 4. And if I run it, and it will select the first 4 entries. So it is actually selecting the top entries. But if I make it in descending order, and if I run it, then here you can see that I am getting the last 4 entries, because it is sorting it in the descending order by name, and it is limiting 4. And now there is another query which is known as between. Okay, between is basically used to print, like if you want some columns between in some range. Okay, it is similar like where. Okay, but here you can directly you can print using the basically between, and there is a range which is low and high. Here you can see that select star from table name, where column 1 is actually between low and high. So now let's see. So if I just print select star from menu, if I run it, in this case, you are getting everything. Okay. So if I write select star from menu where price is greater than 300 and price is less than 600, and if I run it, so here you will get like all those things which are greater than 300 and less than 600. What if I write between 300 and 600? Okay, here you will get where, like here you can see the syntax where you also have to show the, like you have to write where column 1. Okay, you have to write where, and you have to give the column name, in which column you are making this condition. After column name, now you have to write in which range you want, between 300 and 600. So just 1 second, I'm checking the syntax. So here you can see that select star from menu where price is actually between. You just have to write between, and it will give you all the output between 300 and 600, including 300 and 600. Okay, it is actually including the 300 and 600. Here I have something 300. So if I make it 301, and if I run it, then I'll get all the output between these range. Okay, so between can help me to just print like if any column is there between in that range also. So yeah, there will be a low range and there will be a high range. That's why you can see that greater than equal to low and value is less than equal to high. Okay, so now I have like basically I have n. So this is the last one. This is the last query. Now this query is actually used to check if a value is included in a list of multiple options or not. Okay, so suppose I am writing select. If I want to select some color, select color from table name. There is some table which is containing some colors. Okay, where color in red or blue, like I'm just checking whether this color is actually exist in red and blue or not. Okay, I'll tell you. Suppose if I want to select star from menu, okay, if I run it, you can see that there are like many entries are coming. Now I'll write where I want to print select star from menu, all those prices, all those dishes where price is actually where the price is actually present in this limit. And what is the limit? If I want only 300 and 400, whose prices are 300 and 400. So it is actually checking where select all those rows whose price is actually either exist in like either equal to 300 or 400. Okay, in that case, just only show that output. Okay, I just have to write in this way. Okay, here you can see that I just have to write it close and in 300 and 400. So here you can see that 300 and 400, it is actually only printing all those output, which is 300. What if I write 300, 401 and if I run it, then it will only print 300 because there is no dish which is whose cost is actually 401. Okay, you can also play with like you can also play with other one also. Like if I write like if you want whose category is seafood, where category in, and I'm writing here in the string form seafood. I want only those one whose category is actually seafood. So it will print me like, okay, there are like something which is known as seafood and it will print all those to me. Like if I just okay, select star from menu where category is actually in seafood. Sorry guys, actually there was some issue with the like there is actually some issue with the compiler, so that's why it was not printing. It was just showing only one entry, but when I run it, then you can see that I'm getting 5 entries of seafood. Okay, it is only printing me only those entries which are basically which are lying in the seafood category. But if I want multiple categories, like I also want seafood, I also want dessert. Okay, so in that case what I'll do, seafood, and I just have to put comma, and in the comma in the string I'll just write dessert. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, now you can see that there is a seafood and there is a dessert also. So it is only showing me select all something, all element from the menu whose category is actually lying in this one. It is saying whose category is actually present in this one, then just print me all those output. Okay, now here you can also select only the name. It is just not you want to select everything. You can play with it and you can use in a different category. So this is seafood and there is also a dessert also. Okay, meanwhile you can also write like if you want to print like all the names which are not in this category. Okay, there is another thing which is known as not in. So if I run it, then it will print all the entries which are not in basically in the seafood and dessert category. So there is one thing like either it is present inside in like it exists like in this category, or the other is it is not exist. So you can play with in and not in like simultaneous, like with different examples. Okay, if I write star, so this is the thing here, you are getting all those which are not from the seafood and which are not from the desert. Okay. Okay, I think I hope you like this session where I have discussed like different type of SQL queries. I have also tried to give you a little intuition, like how in Zomato or like in this website, how it is actually interacting with the database. How whenever we are clicking something, okay, if I give you an example, like if I go to Zomato and if I'm putting something, like if I'm here, I'm searching for food. So if I'm writing something, like if I'm writing pizza, okay, then in the backend it is using the where query, okay, because it is writing, okay, select something. If I'm writing if I'm writing something as if I want dessert, okay, so if I'm making this search, then it is actually searching in the backend, okay, and it is giving me the waffle station that this is the dessert. But if I write the same thing here, select start from menu, where category, you can say in, or either you can in, or either you can directly write where category equal to dessert. So it will give me dessert, okay, or either I can also write in this way. So that is actually doing the same thing. Okay, it is actually doing the same thing. So this is why whatever you are writing, whatever you're typing here, the querying is actually happen in the backend, and backend is returning the data to us. So yeah, today we have covered this SQL fundamental. Now we'll move to the next part, that is part 3. Okay. Okay. Thank you all.